Hey guys, it's Matt here, and today we're going to be taking a look at this guy. This is actually not AirPods Pro. It's pretty much what everyone thinks when I pull this out, but this is the Insta360 Go 2. So this is actually a really tiny action cam, and this is the case which houses it, kind of charges it up, and there's a little tripod screw, USB-C. You've got like these little tripod legs that come out, so you can actually use the case as like a little stand for it. There's also a little controller built in, but I really like this thing. It's not quite as good as something like a GoPro, but in terms of the size, it's just so much smaller. This thing is really tiny. Like honestly, look at this thing. Like it's really, really small. You can fit this in some crazy places, get some ridiculous angles, and it's very discreet. So if you're not one for filming in public, you can go ahead and easily hide it, whether it be between your jacket or on your cap. And it's just very discreet. People aren't going to know you're filming, whereas if you've got like a mount with like a GoPro, people are going to be staring at you. So yeah, it's nice that you can easily go ahead and just pull it out, start recording. It only takes a few seconds to turn on, and you can either start recording using the case through this button, you can pair it with your phone, there's a smartphone app, or you can just go ahead and actually press the camera itself. So you can change inside the app what the button presses do, but a single press starts recording. I've got it set so a double press takes a photo, but there's so many modes you can explore with this camera, and if you connect it through the app, through Wi-Fi, you're going to be able to have a lot more control over things like the resolution, the wideness, because there's different fields of view you can choose from, and you can also go ahead and export for portrait and landscape. So after the fact you've filmed, you can go ahead and then change between portrait and landscape. That's actually really nice because if you're posting for Instagram stories or your YouTube shorts, then you can go ahead and export the portrait version, or if you want to post it on YouTube, you still have the landscape version in the one clip. So that's really nice. I also like the ability to edit, so you can actually sort of trim your video and zoom in and change the field of view straight in the app after you've taken the shot. Something really cool about this camera is it comes with this like pendant, this little necklace here. I actually kind of like it. It's kind of funky, but you go ahead and put it on. Ugh, my big head barely fits through here, and it just kind of hangs like that. And the camera will go ahead and stick on here, so you can easily go ahead and have like this kind of chest mount, and you can go ahead and obviously hide this under your shirt as well. So it sticks on there pretty securely actually. Like it's a very strong magnet, and it doesn't just stick to this pendant. Pretty much anything metal it's going to stick to. So it actually sticks to cars or lampposts or fences. So you can pretty much stick it to most things, even like a screw in the wall. And yeah, it just gives you like this great angle. I actually stuck this to my friend's car recently, and we drove all the way back from this restaurant, and it stuck on the car really well, like super secure, and everyone had doubts it was going to fall off. But I trusted it, and I was right to, because it didn't fall off, held on really great. And yeah, it's just very discreet. Like I said, I really like this. Honestly, it's just super cool and super tiny. Now, in terms of the specs, it doesn't shoot 4K, which is always like the one question everyone wants to know, but it does shoot in 2K. It records at 2560 by 1440. It records 50 FPS. If you're turning it into HDR mode, it only records in 25 FPS. So honestly, that's almost enough. It gives you some room to punch in, and it's definitely usable for YouTube or on your social media. It's definitely not going to look bad. It just doesn't look quite as good as something like a GoPro, which records in higher resolutions. So yeah, leading on from that, it's definitely not professional. If you want to get some really professional looking shots, this isn't going to be the camera for you. But what I think this is really great at is it's waterproof, first off, and it's just very durable and tiny, so you can bring this anywhere. And the reason you might want to capture a certain shot is purely because you can. It just gives you much more flexibility, and sometimes it may not be like the best resolution or the best in low light, but it does give you those angles that you really couldn't achieve with any other camera, which I think is sort of the very specific thing I like about this. And it's the one thing about it that would keep me using it. It's just this little size. You could pop it in like a little corner, you could mount it under your car, maybe on your wheel. You could just do some crazy shots you would never want to do with something like a big mirrorless camera or some sort of cinegrade camera. Something else really cool is you can go and jump in the app, turn on Pro Video Mode, and not a lot of YouTubers are talking about this, but it will actually lock your leveling horizontally. So basically whenever you rotate the camera, it's going to actually go ahead and keep the footage still, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, if you're worried about moving around, if the camera's sort of wobbling, don't. It locks off horizontally and you won't even know the camera's moving. In terms of the app, it's not the best. It's not my favorite to use, purely because there's just quite a lot of clutter. There's a community section. There's all sorts of tabs going on, advertising other Insta360 products. And yeah, it's kind of finicky to sort of pull up the live view, and especially the gallery, it can be kind of weird. I've noticed there's like this bug. When you zoom in, it doesn't actually zoom the image fully. It just kind of crops this certain area and zooms in. You'll see what I mean because I'll place some B-roll over the top. But that's really annoying because when I want to zoom in, I want to make it bigger. I don't want to make like crop the rest of the image away. So yeah, in terms of audio, it's definitely not amazing. It's nothing like a Pocket 2 or anything like that, but it does the job. Again, mainly you're probably going to want to use this for shots that don't rely on vocals or audio voiceovers. This is pretty much going to be a camera you're going to use to capture a hyperlapse or bring underwater and just get those shots, like I mentioned, that you wouldn't get with another type of camera. Okay, so I've actually come out to a local park and I thought it's a perfect day to fly my drone. So how about we mount the GoTo on top of my drone and get some FPV style footage. So as you can see, I actually have the GoTo mounted on top here. So this is just one of those reusable adhesive sticky pads. So I really hope this doesn't come off when it's flying. It's not on there that great, as you can see, because the drone's curved. But I'm just gonna pray it's gonna hold on. Honestly, this thing would be really cool if it came in matte black. And also this little LED constantly blinks, so it gives away that you're kind of recording. So I guess it's probably done to try and prevent people from using this as like a spy camera or something. But yeah, if it was definitely more discreet, that would be kind of cool. You could kind of film without people knowing, but then I guess some people would use that to their advantage in bad ways. But other than pretty much the camera, the case, you do get some cool accessories from the accessory pack. In my little accessory pack thing, I did get this really nice case. So it's like a hard case with a zip. And there's also this elasticated net section here, which I used to keep in some of the accessories like the extension rod thing. So this is basically like a giant monopod. Kind of just extends out like that. It looks like some sort of like weapon, doesn't it? But yeah, you just go ahead and mount the camera on the top. This gives you maybe like a high up shot, or you can use it as like a selfie stick. So that's pretty nice. It also does fold down really tiny, and it's metal as well, which is really nice. But there's this little attachment here which actually has this sort of 3M sticky tape on it, so you can reuse this. You can stick it on walls or windows, or I don't know, inside your car windscreen. You could capture some shots of driving like that. And there's also this little attachment to put on your wrist, so if you want to hold it, you don't want to drop it or anything, you can go ahead and use it for that purpose. But yeah, there's just so many little accessories and grips and attachments, and I can imagine there's so many third-party ones online for this camera. The possibilities are just ridiculous. They're endless. So last thing to note, because people will actually be curious about how good the battery life is. So in terms of battery life, it's about 30 minutes without the case, but then you can obviously pop it back in the case and you can get a few more charges, which brings you to a total of 150 minutes of recording, which is stated on their website. And I can say pretty much that's about right. It does get about 30 minutes worth of filming before it does die. Honestly, that's not too bad considering the camera is so tiny, and it has really great haptics as well, so it does vibrate on your chest to sort of alert you when the recording is stopped or when it started. So that's a really nice feature. So I'll leave all the links down below so you guys can actually go and check out the camera yourself. And if you do want to purchase it, use my affiliate link. That will just help me out and just help me with the channel. Oh, and something to know, I do have a new filmmaking channel. So if you want to see more things like this, more camera style videos and reviews, go check out that channel. But I'll see you guys later. Peace.